Hiya, my name is Chris. I study cartoon and comic arts and I'm from Greece.
Hi, my name's Emma. I'm studying a Masters in Digital Forensics and I'm half Italian, half English. Welcome to Staffordshire.
And we're going to take you on a tour of the entire campus.
This is our amazing Catalyst building filled with social, study and teaching spaces and some great cafes. This is the 𝐴𝐵 building where you can find the library core, which is our main library, where you can find most of our books except for the ones of art and design, which are based in the library creative. So this is the 𝐴𝐵 2 building where you can find the mock courtroom and our legal advice clinic, which is staffed by students and supervised by legal practitioners. Here you can also find our healthcare facilities, which include clinical simulation suites. This is our full-size Astro pitch, and just behind there we've got another 3 pitches, and this is where our sports clubs train. This is a sports centre which is named after the Stoke City player Sir Stanley Matthews. It has gym facilities and a sports hall which is used by many of our sports teams to train. So this is Coalport, where our Res Life team is based. They manage all our university accommodation and they have coordinators which are based here daily, and during term time they're here till late night, so if you have any problems you can just talk to them. This is part of our student accommodation. Behind me you can see the Leek Road houses, and just a bit further back you can see one of our Leek Road halls. This is LRV, where our weekly club night takes place, which is called Gobble, as well as other events. This is Verve, where you can grab a coffee, chill out, do some work during the day, and then on Wednesdays and Fridays you can grab a cocktail as well. This is a Leek Road Union shop, which is close to our accommodation, so if you're ever missing any essentials you can come and grab them here. So this is a science centre where our psychology, forensics, biological sciences and sports science courses are based, and you can also find Student Connect, the sports therapy clinic and the careers team. So this is a woodlands nursery that brings a forest into our city campus. It is available for day spaces for preschool children, of our staff members, students and our local community, and outside of term time it also has spaces available for older children.
This is the 𝐶𝐷𝐵 courtyard, where you can find courses such as architecture, the foundation in art and design, cartoon and comic arts and fine arts. This is where you can find the courses for music and sound and film and their respective studios, so students can study in a secluded space with their own studio and equipment. This is the 𝐶𝐷𝐵 building, where you can find the games related courses as well as the biggest motion capture room in all of European academia. The library creative can also be accessed through the 𝐶𝐷𝐵 building and is dedicated to the art and design department and all related courses. The train station is literally around the corner from this building, and there are a number of bus stops with frequent routes going all the way up to Hanley. This is the Flaxman building, and courses held here include film production and education. This is also where you can find Staffs Live, where students can record their own media programs, and it's also where the Student Connect podcast is recorded. This is the Beacon building, home to the esports courses and the esports hub, as well as the Pavilion Cafe. This is the Mellor building, home to computing and engineering courses, as well as Smart Zone that has facilities such as 3D printing where our engineering students can work. The Mellor is also home to our cutting-edge virtual production studio. This is the Henria Media Center, and it loans specialist equipment for a variety of courses such as the film production and photography. The Squeeze Box is an excellent place where you can grab a milkshake, a smoothie, a coffee or a meal deal before or after your lectures. This building houses the student union offices upstairs and the Ember Lounge downstairs. The Ember Lounge is a great place that hosts nightlife activities such as karaoke and quiz night. This is the Dwight building, home to product design, transport design and ceramics, as well as the automotive workshops. Thank you for coming with us on this campus tour.
We hope to see you very soon.
And if you want to find out more, please visit our website.
Hope you have a great day.
See ya.
Bye.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. This is Mahzabin, International Education Counselor from EM Global Education, and today we have our special guest Elli from Staffordshire University. Hi Elli, how are you? How is your day today?
Hi. I'm good, thank you. Thank you very much for having me today.
All right. So today we will mainly focusing on September intake. The students who are highly interested to apply in September intake, please, I think this session will be very helpful for them. And if you want to visit our office location is in Dhanmondi in Dhaka, and we have 2 other branches in Sylhet and Mauloibazar. So we will start our live session. So Elli, please tell me something about the university location and history about the history of this university and some feature that why should student choose this university.
Fantastic. Well, again, thank you very much for having me today. So my name's Ellie and I'm an international officer at the University of Staffordshire. So the University of Staffordshire actually has 3 campuses, the main campus being in Stoke-on-Trent. So Stoke-on-Trent is in the Midlands in the UK, and it's really well connected to larger cities across the UK as well. Stoke-on-Trent campus, as I mentioned, is our main campus, and this is where the majority of our courses are based. So this is everything from nursing, engineering, computing, art and design. Everywhere that you saw in that video that was just shown, that's our Stoke-on-Trent campus. We then also have a second campus in Stafford. Stafford is also in the Midlands. It's also in the county of Staffordshire. And it's about a 15-20 minute drive from our Stoke-on-Trent campus. And this campus is set up specifically for nursing, midwifery, operating department practice and paramedic courses. So it's very healthcare specific. We then finally have our satellite campus in London. So our London campus is a very exciting campus. It's set up much like a kind of a business, I would say. So in that sense, it's a very open space, but it's not like a typical campus like you saw from our Stoke-on-Trent campus. So and this specialises in some of our games and computing courses. So they're the 3 campuses that we have. In terms of a little bit about Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire, as that is the name of our university, it is traditionally known for pottery and ceramics. So it's a very industrial county, and Stoke-on-Trent in particular as a city. And it's where lots of well-known ceramic companies such as Wedgwood, Royal Doulton, all took place. So it's also a very creative county because of that. There's lots of green open spaces. Stoke-on-Trent itself is quite a small city with around 260,000 people as the population, and it's made up of 6 different towns. So it's got really nice quirky feel to it. Just outside the office that I'm sat in now, so I'm sat in our Flaxman building, which again was one of those buildings that we mentioned in that campus video. Just outside is the train station. So they can students can really easily commute to larger cities. So for example, Manchester is just 40 minutes away on the train, Birmingham 50 minutes south on the train. On the fast train, you can get to London in an hour and a half. So it's really nicely connected to get everywhere you might want to explore in the UK whilst you are here studying. Some of the unique things to mention about the University of Staffordshire: we have our fantastic Smart Scholarship, which is £3,000. So that will be awarded for undergraduate students for £3,000 per year of the course. And for postgraduate students, that will also be awarded for the full year for them as well. So that's a great one. The other thing is, in terms of our type of campus, we're incredibly inclusive. We're not too big, we're not too small, and it means that you really do feel part of the community. So I think I'll leave that there for now.
Okay, all right. So it's a very student-friendly campus. You are offering a good amount of scholarship, and the location of this university is very near to the largest cities of UK, as Bangladeshi students actually looking for mostly London, Manchester, Birmingham. So the location is very student-friendly and famous, I think, for the students. All right. So what are the programs that you are offering?
Okay, so we have a wide range of programs. So it really depends on obviously what your interest is in. So as I mentioned, our London campus specialises in computing and games. So this includes cybersecurity, computer science, games art. Our Stafford campus specialises in our healthcare courses, so that includes nursing, midwifery, paramedic science and operating department practice, but where we've got our full package of courses in Stoke-on-Trent. So this includes things such as our MBA in our business school. We have the option of the MBA for a 2-year course where there's a professional placement with that. We also have our international business management, and that is at both postgraduate and undergraduate. We also have our digital marketing management as a master's as well, which is a really fantastic course. And that's just some of our business courses that we have on offer. Then from an engineering point of view, again, these courses are available at undergraduate and at postgraduate. However, at postgraduate, there's a little bit more specific tailoring to those courses. So, for example, we have electrical and electronic engineering, and then you can do that with an additional specialism on top of that at master's. We have our automotive and motorsport engineering. We have our mechanical engineering, aeronautical engineering. So there's some of our engineering courses that we have. And again, like I say, at undergraduate and postgraduate. From a computing aspect, computing is actually one of the areas that we as a university have been teaching for over 60 years. We're one of the oldest computing courses in the UK. And our computing courses are split up into specific specialisms. However, if you want to be more generic, you can go with our computer science course. You could do cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, cloud and network computing, just to name a few of our computing courses. Then on a different aspect, we have our at undergraduate, we have our biomedical science degree. And then we also have at master's, we have our molecular biology. And then in addition to this, we also have our art-based courses. So again, one of our real specialisms being from the creative county. So this includes everything from games art, cartoon and comic arts, VFX, all sorts of things along those lines. And then also more traditional ones, such as fine arts and illustration. So as you can see, there's an awful lot of courses that we have on offer. All of them have different, obviously, accolades and awards associated with them. So if you take a look on our webpage, you can actually see on the course individual pages, it will tell you what accreditation that course has. So, for example, the computer science they work with Cisco, for example. With the biomedical science, they work with the Biomedical Science and the Royal Society of Biology. And then also you can have a look at rankings in terms of student satisfaction and things like that as well. So it's a really great place to look is our course list on the webpage, so you can see everything that we have on offer and then all the individual awards that those courses have.
Okay, all right. So you have an accelerated LLB program as well, right?
We do, yes.
Yeah.
So that can be completed in 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I think it's another popular courses of this university, right?
Yes, it is very popular. Obviously, the real benefits of doing the LLB accelerated is you complete the course in 2 years instead of the standard 3. It does mean, obviously, it's much more intense. So whereas normally you would do 2 semesters per year for an undergraduate course, you are doing 3 semesters. And it also does mean you have the benefit of saving a year tuition, but we have to take into account that because it is accelerated, it's a harder way of studying. The entry requirements are higher, and you need to really be prepared to hit the ground running in terms of what you're studying. But it's also incredibly beneficial because if you know you want to go into practice law and do the SQE afterwards or whatever it might be, you can do that in 3 years instead of what would normally take somebody 4 years. So yes, that's definitely a beneficial course that we offer. Very popular.
All right. So is there any foundation course you are offering?
Okay, so we don't offer an international foundation year. What we do have is certain course areas have a course-specific foundation option. So, for example, if you wanted to go into engineering, for example, you would do or you would apply and complete aeronautical engineering with a foundation year. In that foundation year, it is giving you, as it mentions, the foundations of engineering. So it's not there to help improve English or settle into the UK curriculum. It is subject-based. So that is something to bear in mind there. And we have that in various different courses. So business, computing, our art courses as well. So if you want to go into an art based course, but you don't have a portfolio, you would do the art and foundation year to build up that portfolio there. So yes, we have foundation years, but they are course specific. And again, if the course has a foundation year, it will be mentioned on our course pages, so you can apply for that there, but it is subject based rather than being a generic international foundation year.
All right. So is there any subjects offering the placement year?
So yes, so we have a number of courses that offer placements. What I must caveat with that is that as an international student, our policy is that initially you can't apply for the course with a foundation year, with a placement year, sorry. Yeah. This is because we can't guarantee that you will find a placement that lasts the full year. And that can obviously have visa implications. So what we ask is that apply for the standard route course or the course with the foundation year if you want to do that. And then once you're in the UK, once you're here, you've got the support of our Career Connect team, you've got the support of your academic staff. They can help you and support you to find a placement, start applying for placements to see what's available out there, what sort of thing do you want to do. Once you're able to and have secured a placement, so if that is for that minimum of a 9-month time period, our international student support team will then assist you in getting a visa extension. So you can't apply for those placements courses, but you can also transfer onto that later on once you are here. So, but what I will also say is that all of our courses have some sort of work experience sort of within it. So whether that is through doing a live brief from a local business and working with them to fix a problem that they have, whether that is that you are doing, so in biomedical science, you might be working in the university labs for a certain set number of days. That's already incorporated in the course. So you don't need an additional placement year on top of that. So it's really good that you can settle into your course, see how it's going, and then you can have a better idea in terms of what you want to do for your placement and if you need that additional year to do that placement. But so there's lots of opportunities for work experience and getting a placement, but in terms of the actual course with a placement year, that's something that you would sort once you are here in the UK and studying with us.
All right, so you have MBA program as well. So is there any job experience needed for MBA program? And apart from this, if a student did his MBA in Bangladesh, then what are the options for those type of students?
Of course. So yes, our MBA, you are able to apply for that straight out of your bachelor's degree. So there doesn't need to be any work experience for that. Obviously, if you have any work experience, that's really beneficial, but you don't need it. On the flip side of that, also, if you've got lots and lots of work experience and maybe not a full bachelor's degree, they may be able to work that out as well. So every application is obviously looked at on an individual basis. So we'll take into account all of your experience with that. In terms of if you already have an MBA from another country, you would need, as part of your statement of purpose, you would need to include in there why you're wanting to study the same course again and what benefit that has to you. That again is also partly important from an academic progression perspective from the visas. So that's something to account for there. But yes, so we have, and as I mentioned at the beginning, we also have our MBA, our 2-year MBA. So for students that do want to get that professional practice, it's 1 year of teaching, and then the second year is professional practice, so a placement as well. So we have that, and that starts for the first time this September, which is very exciting. So yes, so, but you don't need to have any experience, work experience, to apply for the MBA.
Okay, so what are the entry requirements for UG and PG both?
Of course. So for our undergraduate, we are looking for an HSC with a minimum of 75% or a 4.0 out of 5.0 GPA, plus 2 years of an ordinary undergraduate bachelor's degree. So that could be a BA, a BCom, BSc, and that needs to have a minimum grade of 60. So that's our standard undergraduate requirements. For our masters, our postgraduate courses, the majority of our courses need equivalent to a UK 2-2 degree. So that is equivalent to a 4-year bachelor's degree from Bangladesh, from a recognised university, ideally in a relevant subject, so we can see that there's the career progression there, with a minimum of a 3.0 out of 4. So that's what we're looking for there. In addition to that, we then also obviously need our English language. Now, we accept a wide range of English language courses, which I'll list some of the main ones here, but again, you can find these on the website. I must also say that some courses need slightly higher entry requirements. So, for example, social work would need equivalent to an IELTS 7. However, our standard IELTS, we would need 6 with no lower than 5.5 in each component. We do also accept PTE. With PTE, we need a minimum of 59 overall, with no less than 54 in any of the individual areas. With a language cert academic, we would accept 65 overall, with no less than 60 in each. And with TOEFL, we have individual numbers that we need for each of them. So I'm just going to read these so I make sure I get them right. So for the TOEFL, we would need, at listening, we need 17. Speaking, we'd need 20. Reading, we'd need 18. And writing, we'd need 17. Now, as I said, we do accept other English languages as well. So it will depend purely on what works best for you. And you can use any of those that we have there for that. So yeah, hopefully that gives you an idea of our entry requirements. But as I say, we take into account your experience. So if you've got any study gaps or anything like that, you must provide your CV so we can review that. And we look at you as a whole person. And that's where your statement of purpose is really important, because you've got your grades and your English language certificate and all of that that says, yes, this person's good academically, but who are they as a person? And that's what we want to see in your statement of purpose. So that's a really important aspect of our entry requirements as well.
All right, so you are offering an internal test as well, right?
Only in certain circumstances. If all entry requirements are met except for English language, we would offer you a password English test. We don't have any pre-sessional English lessons or anything like that, so you have to make sure you're well prepared for that test. And that is conducted by our English language team via Skype. But as I say, that will only be offered if you meet all of our other entry requirements.
Okay, fine. So if any student completed diploma, 4 years diploma after SSC, then he will be applicable to apply in undergraduate, right?
Yes, yes. Because we have our top-up degrees as well. So if you want to do a top-up in computer science or a top-up in business, that would also be applicable for those as well.
Okay, so in case of 3 years degree pass course, you know that Bangladeshi students have this type of degree as well. So in that case, what are the options for them?
Okay, so it will be a case-by-case basis, and it will depend on the GPA. So in that circumstance, that would be when we would ask somebody to apply directly to us, obviously with your guys' support, and then we can review that in full from that point.
Okay, so let me clear one thing, that if a student completed 3 years degree pass course, in that case, 1 year or 2 years masters is mandatory, or with this 3 years degree that student will eligible to apply?
That's, as I say, it's a case-by-case basis. So we would need them to apply with all of their documents, CV if they have one, and then we can review all of that in one go, all together, holistically look at it all together, and then make a decision from there.
Okay, so we can try, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, all right. So now tell me something about the tuition fees for UG and PG, and including scholarships.
Of course. So the majority of our courses, so this is everything except for the 2-year MBA and our nursing courses, our fees are £16,750. So that's all of them. And as I say, it states on all of our course pages as well. So £16,750. Now, again, the majority of our courses are eligible for our SMART scholarship. So our SMART scholarship is automatically awarded, and it is an award of £3,000. So for undergraduate courses, that is £3,000 per year. So if you are completing our standard 3-year bachelor's degree, you will be having a scholarship of £9,000, essentially, so £3,000 per year. For our master's degree, obviously, the course is only 1 year, so you will get £3,000 off of that. So to incorporate the fees with the scholarship, it would be £13,750, the course fees would be.
Which is very affordable, I think.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So what about the bank statement is needed
Okay. So in terms of how the application process goes at the University of Staffordshire, so obviously you'll apply and hopefully we'll be able to give you an unconditional offer straight away. Once you have an unconditional offer, you will be required to pay a deposit of £6,500. So obviously that's a big chunk of your tuition fees, which is fantastic to be able to get that out of the way. And just to make you aware that there are no additional fee payments at enrolment. For those starting in September, the remaining tuition fee will be due at the end of January. So once we have that deposit, after that, that's when we will go into our compliance checks. So you will have to undergo a pre-CAS interview. And then that pre-CAS interview is conducted via Microsoft Teams with our admissions and compliance team. And it is a one chance only for that interview. We will offer you support, and that's also obviously when they use 𝐒𝐴N Global with their expertise in regards to pre-CAS interviews for that as well. Once you have passed that pre-CAS interview, that is when you will then have to submit your finance documents.
Yeah.
So in terms of for the finance documents, you will need to be able to provide, if you're using bank statements, to show that for the last 28 days, you have held the minimum 𝐾𝐭𝐼 maintenance amount. Now, again, it depends on how much that amount is, depending on if you're studying at our Stoke-on-Trent or Stafford campus or the London campus, because obviously London is slightly more. So you need to be able to show that with the remaining tuition fee. In terms of our university policy, we also ask that you have an additional 10% on top of that to account for currency fluctuation, because obviously we don't want you to have held that money and you just have the right amount and then the currency changes and then you don't meet it anymore. So you want to make sure you have a little bit extra in there to account for that. So that has to be held for 28 days. However, with our check, with our bank statements, you do need to make sure that you have provide a 3-month bank statement so we can see if there's been any large movements of money. Now, we hold, so just on Thursday last week, we held a webinar that went in depth in terms of these financial checks. And that will be going on our YouTube very soon. And we offer lots of support in terms of guidance and examples of what you can provide with this. So you will need to provide that bank statement if you're using a bank statement, if you're using an educational loan or anything else, fixed deposit, that's fine. But for the bank statement, it needs to be 28 days, but then it also needs to go back 3 months so we can see any large movements of money in that as well. Then once you've passed that check as well, so both of our compliance checks, that's when we will then be able to issue a 𝐾𝐽𝐶 to you. That's sort of how the process works. It's kind of one thing after the next.
Okay, all right. So what about the deadline for September intake?
Okay, so the application to apply is the 28th of July. So you've got 2 weeks for the application. Now, bear in mind that we then have a very quick turnaround to the deposit deadline after that. So the sooner you can apply, the better. The deposit deadline is the 5th of August. So you need to make sure that your financials are already in order. We then have a pre-𝐶𝐬𝐶 check. So the pre-𝐶𝐬𝐶 interview that I mentioned and the finance check, they have to be passed by the 15th of August. So again, we're getting quite close to these deadlines now. And what that means is that if you are going to apply now, you need to make sure that you have your finances in order for that visa finance check. So the latest date you can start the 28-day countdown is the 15th of July, so tomorrow. So please make sure that you bear that in mind as well. We will then issue your 𝐾𝐽𝐶 at the latest around the 22nd of August, and that is ready for you to arrive and start on the 22nd of September. So we are getting really close to our deadlines now. So it really is your best interest if you are interested in coming to us and hopefully getting an offer from us and joining us in September. Speak to the 𝐒𝐴N Global team, speak to us directly at the university, get the application in, get it started so we can see where we go from there. There's no application fee or anything like that. So it apply as soon as you can and make sure you've got your finances in order so you're not set up to be disappointed later on. So you have that there. And once you do apply, all of our email communications, the deadlines are included in there so you can be aware of what you're working with as well. Okay.
All right, okay. So I think you have covered up all the things that our students actually want to know. So we have our audience with us. Now it's time to pick some questions from the audience. Okay, let's see some questions. How is the pre-𝐶𝐬𝐶 interview going to be taken? How to prepare for it?
Perfect. Okay, great question. So as I mentioned, the pre-𝐶𝐬𝐶 interview is undertaken via Microsoft Teams. It's done one-on-one with one of our admissions and compliance team administrators. So it's not AI or anything like that. It's an actual live video or live conversation, should I say, where you are having to answer questions about why you're wanting to study, what your plans are in the future, things such as those. The best way to prepare for it is, so once you get to that point, so after you've paid your deposit, we will send you a guide with all of the things that we're going to go over it. The other way to prepare is to use your team at 𝐒𝐴N Global. They are there to support you through the visa processes, and they can do mock interviews with you, all those sorts of things to prepare. The thing to mention about pre-𝐶𝐬𝐶 interviews is, yes, you only have one chance, but if you have written your statement of purpose, imagine your pre-𝐶𝐬𝐶 interview as a spoken version of your statement of purpose. So you already know all the information. You know why you want to come to the UK. You've done your research over why you're not studying in Bangladesh or studying in Canada or somewhere else in the world. You've done your research as to why you've chosen the University of Staffordshire over the the number of other universities in the UK, and you know why you want to study the course that you've applied for, because that fits with your goals for the future. So don't get too worried about it. You know the answers. It's just about articulating those through the pre-CAS interview with the team via Microsoft Teams. And also, what I will mention, I forgot to mention, is that you book your pre-CAS interview at a time that suits you. So you will get sent a booking calendar, and you will book that whenever works for you. So if you know that you work better doing interviews in the morning, for example, you can do it in the morning. So you can use that to your advantage as well. So hopefully that answers your questions.
Okay, thank you. Do you accept undergraduate students from Bangladesh?
We certainly do. That's what today's all about.
I think you just that actually. So is there any restrictions or bar from Sylhet region's student?
Sorry, say that again.
I think the question was, are you taking students from the Sylhet region? You know that there are some restrictions or bar from Sylheti students actually. So
we have no restrictions from any particular region of Bangladesh. So as long as you can meet our entry requirements, our compliance requirements, then then everything, of course, we accept you.
All right. For foundation program, there is no restrictions as well, right?
No.
In that case, is there needed to pay the full tuition fee?
No, it's just the deposit of £6,500.
Okay, all right then. How can I apply to this university?
So you can get in contact with the EN Global team, and they will support you through the application process. So they can apply directly to us. As I say, there's no charge for that application fee. So you can go to them, they'll check all your documents, make sure you've got everything, and then apply on your behalf, and then support you through the whole application process.
Okay, all right. So if anyone wants to apply in University of Staffordshire, then you need to contact with EN Global Education. All right. So next question is, does the university offer courses with placement years? You already have covered it.
So yeah, we did already cover this. So we do offer courses with placement years, but as I say, you can't apply directly for those. It will be a case of once you're here in the UK, you have access to our support from our careers team, the academics team. You look for that placement. Once you secure that placement, we will then assist you getting a visa extension.
Yeah, all right. So. Okay, please tell me about the accommodation facilities. Does the university provide accommodation facilities for international students, and how much it will cost?
That is a fantastic question that we've not covered. So thank you very much for asking that question. So yes, we do have accommodation, and our accommodation is guaranteed. Our on-campus accommodation is guaranteed for students who wish to stay in our campus accommodation. Now, what I must say is that because of the setup of our London campus, we don't have accommodation at our London campus. We do, however, have recommendations of where you can stay, and details of that can be found on our website. But obviously, there's loads of options within London, being that you're within the capital city. In terms of the accommodation that we have on offer that is university owned, it's based at our Stoke-on-Trent campus, and it's available for both the students at Stoke-on-Trent and also studying at Stafford. In terms of the setup of the accommodation, we have the traditional halls of residence, as it were, so multiple flats within, or multiple rooms within one flat, should I say. So this could be for anywhere from 6 to 12 people sharing. And when I say sharing, everyone has their own bedroom, but they share a very large bathroom that has 3 toilets, 3 showers. Your bedroom also has your own sink, and then you have a lovely large open kitchen living space as well. So you can chill and relax and watch the telly with your friends and things like that. If you're going for that sort of accommodation, so that's what we would call our Leek Road halls, that's £113 per week. And that includes all of your bills. It also includes access to the university gym, and also it includes your contents insurance of up to £10,000 as well. So it's just one set amount for that. We then have our other style of campus accommodation, which is our Leek Road houses. So these are set up as very traditional UK terraced houses. And again, these are from 6 to 12 bedrooms in each house. The bedrooms are slightly larger than in the halls of residence. But again, they are shared bathrooms and it's a shared kitchen area. But it's a really nice, they really have a really nice feel to them, our Leek Road houses. And they are £131 per week. And again, including all the bills and the things that I mentioned for the Leek Road halls. We then have our ensuite accommodation. And our ensuite accommodation means that you have your own bathroom. So you have your shower, toilet, and sink in your bedroom. It does mean that your bedroom is slightly smaller because you have that bathroom space within there. And then you have your shared kitchen as well. This is generally between 4 and 6 people. And in terms of the type of ensuite accommodation that we have, it depends on how modern you want it to be. So the lowest cost is £135 per week, again, including bills. The most expensive is £162 per week. And that's because it's, like I said, it's been remodeled. It's a bit more modern, a bit more fancy. And as I say, all of that is guaranteed should you wish to stay on campus. What you have to do in terms of for the accommodation is you have to apply separately for that through our Res Life portal. So as soon as you have a conditional offer, you can apply for that accommodation. And when you apply, you will rank your choice of accommodation. So the sooner you apply, the more likely you are to get your first choice. You don't have to pay anything at that point. You only have to pay a deposit of £50 once we actually offer you a particular room. So that's sort of how that works in that aspect. In terms of for international students as well, once you apply, if you state that you're an international student and you request, you can have a free bedding pack and a free kitchen pack as well to help you get settled in and started. So I get that that's a lot of information about accommodation there. But take a look on our website. You can actually view the rooms. You can see the pictures, take a virtual tour. We also have, again, on our YouTube, we have a live tour with one of our student ambassadors showing the accommodation around there, so you can take a look. And if you have any questions, just get in touch with us and we can support you through that accommodation process.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. And next question is, what percentage of scholarship does the university provide?
I'll be completely honest, I'm not sure what the percentage is, but it's £3,000 taken off of the standard fee of £16,750. So it's a good proportion.
Yeah. It's a fantastic amount of scholarship actually. So does the university provide accommodation facilities for international students, and if so, what are the procedure for that? So you already have mentioned that there are accommodation facilities. So just shortly, you explain please that what's the procedure for that?
Of course.
How
so
to
as I say,
or is there any like accommodation fees for that? So just explain this.
Yeah, of course. So as I say, we have our accommodation available for our Stoke-on-Trent campus. Lots of different types available, and they cost from around £113 to £162 per week. So what suits you best, whether or not you want your own bathroom or not, that's something to take into account there. In terms of for actually registering your interest in applying for accommodation, you need to register on our Res Life portal. You can register on there as soon as you have your conditional offer. So you just need your student number and then your contact details. Register on there. You will rank the accommodation in terms of first, second, and third. And hopefully we'll be able to give you your first. Once we have reviewed your application, if we offer you a room, you will then and you wish to take that room, you will pay a deposit of £50 to secure that. And then the remainder of that rent is paid in 3 instalments across the year.
Okay, all right. Thank you. So, any other question? I completed MSS in 2016, CGPA 3.44, IELTS 6.5, no band less than 6. Can I apply for MRes courses?
Okay, so unfortunately at the University of Staffordshire, we don't offer any MRes courses at the moment. So there will be a better university out there for you if that's what you're wishing to study. So I can't help you with that, unfortunately.
So you won't have any MRes course?
No, no MRes.
For the upcoming years, any plan for MRes?
Who knows? We shall see. But currently, no. Not for September or January. Definitely not.
Okay, all right then. So, any more questions, please? All right. If a student complete his HSC in 2022, can he apply for a single CAS?
Right, I'm not quite sure what they mean by a single CAS. In terms of a student visa, you would have to meet our compliance procedures and our academic requirements for us to be able to issue a CAS for you to then apply for a student visa. Now, ordinarily, we would ask for a maximum of a 2-year study gap for undergraduate courses. So if you completed the HSC in 2022, we're now at 3 years. However, you are still welcome to apply, but you will have to provide your CV. And also, if you've been employed in that time period, also an employer reference from each employer you've had in that time period for us to make sure, for us to make sure that you meet the compliance requirements. So that's something to bear in mind in that space. If you are just to go on about study gaps for master's students, we will accept up to 10 years study gap for master's courses. So after you've completed your bachelor's to go on to master's. However, again, you would need to provide your CV and an employer reference from every employee you've had in that time period. So that's something to bear in mind there. But again, apply to us. We can look at it on a case-by-case basis, and we will make a decision and go from there. But make sure when you're submitting your application, there's a strong statement of purpose and you provide all that additional information for us to review.
All right. So if a student passed his or her HSC in 2022, and if that student meets the minimum requirement, academic and English proficiency test, then that student can apply for direct bachelor program, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Elli. Thanks for the clarification and thanks to provide all the valuable information. I think the students will be very, very, very helpful with this information. And thank you to join the session. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much for having me. And any questions, obviously reach out to the EN Global team. And if you want to contact us directly at the university, you're also obviously more than welcome to do that. But take a look at our webpage and bear those deadlines in mind if you want to join us in September. But thank you very much for having me today. It was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.